Hello, fourth graders. This is Miss K, and this is Unit 3, our poetry unit, and we're on Lesson 11 today. We are going to read a poem that has an extended metaphor. So we already talked about metaphors. Metaphors are when you compare two things without using the word like or as. So, for example, if you had a friend that was really tall, you might say, "My friend is a giraffe." So we're comparing your friend to the giraffe because they're both tall. So an extended metaphor takes that metaphor and uses it throughout the whole poem or the whole story. So it's a metaphor that continues for more than one sentence of a story or more than one line of a poem. All right. So your directions say, when a writer's metaphor continues for more than one sentence of a story, it is called an extended metaphor. This poem uses an extended metaphor to compare fog to a cat. That should say cat. Using the poem, answer the questions to show the different parts of the extended metaphor. So this is a super short poem, so I'm going to read it twice for you. And as I read it, I want you to think about what two things are being compared. It's probably the fog, since that's my title. So what is being compared to the fog? So this is called Fog by Carl Sandburg. The fog comes on little cat feet. It sits looking over harbor and city on silent haunches and then moves on. I do want to say that this word right here, haunches, that's like the back part of a cat's leg. So it's basically saying that the cat is sitting on its back legs silently. I'm going to read it one more time. Again, think about what's being compared to the fog and think about how they are similar. Why is it being compared to the fog? The fog comes on little cat feet. It sits looking over harbor and city on silent haunches and then moves on. All right, so for your reading assignment today, you have some different sentences. Actually, that's skills. Let's do reading first. All right, so number one asks, based on the poem's first stanza, what two things does it compare? So just looking at this first stanza right here, what two things are being compared? Now we're going to think about how certain animals move. So think about if you've seen this animal in person before, or if you've seen a video or a movie that featured this animal, and I want you to write about how it moves. How does it look when it moves? So the number two asks cats. Think about how does a cat move, and write your description in the box. How do elephants move? How do kangaroos move? How do butterflies move? And now I want you to think about why the poem compares the fog to a cat. Why did they choose a cat to compare the fog to? How are they similar? Make sure to go back into the poem to read about that. All right, now let's move on to your skills assignment. So I'm going to give you part of the poem, and you're going to tell me how the sentence describes a cat and then how it describes the fog. Remember, that's the whole poem is comparing the cat to the fog. So whatever they say has to relate to both of them. So use your imagination. Use what you know about fog and what you know about cats. If you didn't know, I probably should have said this before, but fog is, it looks kind of like clouds, but it's very low to the ground. So it's like a thick gas, and it kind of covers the ground. Sometimes it's a little bit higher. So if you can imagine like, not like a thick puffy cloud, but gray light clouds, low to the ground. It happens a lot in the morning when it's cold out or when it's going to rain. And feel free to look up a picture of it if you're not sure. So think about what fog looks like, how fog moves, and think about the cat as well. So the first one is comes on little cat feet. So how does that describe a cat? How does that describe the fog? Sits looking. Silent haunches. Remember, haunches are the back legs of a cat, that big round part that they tend to sit on. Okay, now that you've seen how Carl Sandburg uses an extended metaphor to describe the weather, it's your turn. Follow the steps below to write your own poem that contains an extended metaphor comparing the weather to an animal. So you're going to pick any of these types of weather from the box and write it in the box here. So whatever you choose, if you want to write a poem about something scary or happy, your choice of weather should reflect that. So pick any one you'd like and write it in the text box. Now you're going to think about 5 different things that describe the word you chose. So you can think about what it looks like. So maybe if we were talking about fog, for example, I would say it looks gray, it looks spooky, it looks cloudy. So describing what it looks like. The sounds it makes. So fog doesn't really make any sounds. So I would say fog is silent. It doesn't make any sounds. Or what it feels like. When you touch it, does it feel wet? Does it feel dry? Does it feel cold, warm? Think about your senses. You can also think about its shape, its color, and the way it moves. So 5 different things about your type of weather written in that text box. Now you're going to think about what animal you want to compare it to. So Carl Sandburg used the cat. Think about your weather. What kind of animal is it similar to? If it is a peaceful kind of weather, you might want to choose a nice, quiet, peaceful kind of animal. If it's a loud, scary type of weather, you're going to want to choose a loud, scary type of animal. So make sure they're similar to the weather you chose. Now you're going to make 3 different ways that your animal is similar. So now that you chose your animal and you chose your weather, give me 3 ways that they are the same. And then at number 5, you're going to finish writing your poem. So use all of this information from numbers 2, 3, and 4 and put it together to create your poem. As always, if you need any help, please get on Zoom. We're here to help you, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye, Adams.